विदेश मंत्री जी का नाउ फॉरेन मिनिस्टर ये नहीं चलेगा, ये कैसे होगा?
The Honorable Speaker himself is making allegation against the Congresswomen MPs. Well, there is no space for opposition in this house at all.
Opposition will not get a chance to speak in the house. Even the opposition leader is denying chance, and also other opposition leader is also not getting chance. Now we are believing that there is the partially with the ruling party.
जिस तरह से ओम बिरला जी ने लोकतंत्र के खिलाफ, डेमोक्रेसी के खिलाफ अपनी भूमिका सामने लाई, तो ऐसे में हमारे पास एक ही हथियार होता है अपोजिशन के पास, उनके खिलाफ अविश्वास प्रस्ताव लाकर चर्चा।
वो लोकतंत्र का एम्पायर है, लेकिन एम्पायर ही पक्षपाती हो जाए तो फिर खेल वो लोकतंत्र का नहीं, सत्ता को हो जाता है। जिस प्रकार राहुल गांधी जी की आवाज को दबाई जाती है, विपक्ष की आवाज को दबाई जाती है, इसलिए हम लोगों ने ये मूव हमने किया है।
रेजोल्यूशन आ रहा है, और लेकिन अभी इससे भी महत्वपूर्ण बात है कि जो ये ईरान और जो अमेरिका के वॉर छिड़ी हुई है, और भारत कहाँ खड़ा हुआ है, हमारी नीति क्या कहती है, हमारे फॉरेन मिनिस्ट्री क्या कह रही है।
We are demanding for a discussion on Western crisis. We are very firm on that. We are demanding for a discussion.
वॉकआउट किया हम लोगों ने क्योंकि हम चाहते थे चर्चा हो। एक तरफा स्टेटमेंट का कोई फायदा नहीं होता।
Viewers, what you just saw exposes the Congress-led opposition's, what do I say, templated behavior. They demand a debate, they create ruckus, and then they walk out like nothing happened. Viewers, this is the shoot and scoot strategy that's becoming all too familiar. The world is on edge with the ongoing war involving America, Israel, and Iran. This global crisis demands India's clear stance. The opposition, spearheaded by the Congress, has been up in arms demanding a statement and a full debate in Parliament. They are within their right to do it. They insisted that External Affairs Minister S Jaishankar must address the House on this critical issue. But do you know what happened when Jaishankar stood up? He was ready to lay out India's position, to explain our strategy amid this international turmoil. The opposition, instead of listening, viewers, instead of engaging in a meaningful discussion, turned the House into what can be described as a slogan shouting circus. Chants echoed, it drowned out the minister's words. I'll play out the full sequence. Rahul Gandhi even accused the Prime Minister of running away. But who was really dodging accountability here? Viewers, this comes hot on the heels of the opposition pushing for a no-confidence motion against Speaker Om Birla. They've made it about parliamentary decorum. But here they are, or they were, trashing that very decorum themselves. So now you might think that this is a one-off, it can happen. But this is a pattern, viewers, a calculated strategy to be in the news without doing the hard work of preparing for debate. Just last December, during a heated discussion on the electoral reforms and voter list revision, the SIR, Union Home Minister Amit Shah was speaking. Excuse me. He was speaking when the opposition, after a clash with Rahul Gandhi over allegations of voter fraud, etc., staged a dramatic walkout. They demanded answers, got the floor, and then abandoned it, left the House in disarray. Parliamentary Affairs Minister Kiran Rijiju pointed out this and said that this showed their lack of patience for any real discussion. They just want to waste time. And remember, February this year, when the opposition staged another walkout in Rajya Sabha, they were demanding a debate on the Indo-US trade deal. They raised the issue, accused the government of secrecy, but as soon as things got serious, most of them marched out in protest. This is the same old script in action again. There are other examples, you know them. We'll discuss that during the course of this show. Viewers, the Congress-led opposition claims to be the voice of people, fighting for accountability. But by demanding debates and then refusing to participate, by sloganeering over speakers and, staging walkouts, they are undermining the very institution or institutions they swear to protect. This shoot and scoop tactic is not new. It's a go-to move to score political points without the burden of facts or dialogue. And that's precisely what they did today. Let me play out what happened with Mr. Jaishankar in the Lok Sabha.
The region is key to our energy security and includes many important suppliers of oil and gas. The region is key to our energy security and includes many important suppliers of oil and gas. There are almost 1 crore Indian citizens who live and work in the Gulf nations. In Iran too, there are a few thousand Indians who are there for study and employment. Important suppliers of oil and gas. Chairman, sir, the Gulf is also a major trade partner, accounting for US dollars.
What do you think was more audible? The minister or the noise in the background? This is a sample of what was on display today in Lok Sabha. Let's open this up. Shehzad Poonawala, the national spokesperson of the Bharatiya Janata Party. Nikhil Jain, Faizan Kidwai, national spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party. Anish Gawande, national spokesperson, NCP, Sharad Pawar. Professor Manojit Mondal and Dr. Anand Ranganathan completes this panel. Anish, I'll go to the Congress in a bit. But is this the way, any house can function? Where you demand a discussion, a debate, and then do this when the minister gets up to make a statement?
Pranesh, to start off with, I want to say that I have no interest in sensationalizing this debate today, because at this particular moment, India must stand united against global headwinds that threaten the economy and threaten the life and livelihoods of every single Indian. We're at a very, very dangerous moment right now. We have Bangalore Hotel Association saying that they won't be able to open tomorrow because of a LPG shortage. Pune's crematoriums, Pune's gas crematoriums are going to be shut from tomorrow. Watermelon prices have dropped to 7 rupees a kilo because the export market has collapsed entirely because we can't export during Ramzan. These are the questions we want to ask in Parliament. I think the scenes that you witnessed today reflect a growing sort of distrust between the government and the opposition that is unfortunate. I don't think that on either side we need to have this level of distrust, and we should allow Parliament to function in a more sort of sustained and responsible way. But tali ek haath se nahi bachti, And I think it's very wrong to blame only the opposition for this. I think serious introspection needs to be done as to why this collapse has happened.
This word distrust is interesting, Anish, your choice of the word distrust, because as far as I understand, this is disruption. This is not distrust. You can have distrust, still come to a point where the two sides can have a meaningful dialogue. Now, the points that you raised about the crematorium, about LPG, oil, fuel, watermelon, etc., all valid questions. But if you don't even have the courtesy, what do I say, the decency to listen to the statement of the External Affairs Minister, then can the House move forward? Just that.
Pranesh, I agree with you completely. But can the House also move forward when a specific request has been made for a debate on this instead of just a statement that's being read out? I think some sort of compromise has to be arrived at. I don't think at this point anyone wants to attack the government. I don't think at this point there is a need to make this into
the only compromise at the moment is that the sanctity of the House is being compromised. And I don't know who to blame. Nikhil, what is this template? Demand a discussion first on no confidence motion against the speaker. Then you change the goalpost, say, no, that is an issue of the past. Let's now have a debate on this. And then when the External Affairs Minister is speaking, you disrupt his speech.
Pranesh, the no confidence motion against the Speaker lies in the Lok Sabha. It does not lie in the Rajya Sabha. So there is absolutely no reason why that should be made an excuse by the government to not discuss this issue in the Rajya Sabha. So far as the Lok Sabha itself is concerned, Pranesh, tell me this. Suppose you're on a highway. God forbid this doesn't happen, but your car's tire punctures. You get out and then you see flames coming out of the engine of your car. What are you going to do? Are you going to douse the fires of the engine first, or will you go and fix the puncture first? The problem of the Speaker of the Lok Sabha being partisan is very serious, needs to be discussed. But what we have in the face of this Iran, Israel,
no, 1 minute. I'll tell you. To this example, which makes no sense, you can't have a debate with this highway or my way attitude. Highway se utarna padega. What example is this? When the External Affairs Minister, you think this is a serious issue? When the minister is speaking, at least listen to him. Then say what you want to. At least then you could have, come on the panel to say, we heard the minister, then the government was not ready for a debate or discussion, and there we were, voicing our concern.
He's reading a nonsense written statement. He's reading a written statement that could have very well been a press release.
My
this is
God.
the Parliament
So
for
what?
heaven's sake.
So what? Is this the first time that a government, obviously it's a prepared text. It has to be thought through. This is how governments work. I think you believe in the Rahul Gandhi school of governance, where the man who is just a member of parliament comes out to undermine the prime minister and the cabinet, where he thinks an ordinance, is trash. That is not how governments run. I'm sorry, Professor Monojit Mondal. Now the Congress party has a problem with a prepared script. वो बोल रहे हैं ये written statement से क्यों पढ़ रहे थे?
No, I'm not here to defend the Congress party, but yes, I'll go with my previous speaker, friend from NCP, that we are really living in a very, very dangerous time. And definitely, as a common citizen, we want to know what is the government doing. The gas, you can't even book your gases over phone because of other problems. Even the people who could book them, they're getting it after 2 weeks, 3 weeks interval. So the common people are already taking the blunt of it, definitely. And the government has to come up with a policy and assure the common people that everything is all right. If there are problems, we know that there are problems with West Asia and we are not getting the proper petroleum supplies. The government has to look for alternate ways of dealing with it. My concern is with the common people. It can hit your kitchen also very, very soon. The price has already come up. 60 rupees without any notice. And I remember that even I booked the gases 7 days earlier, before the hike of the price. Now I have to pay the higher price. So for me it is not a problem, but for the common people, for the lower middle class people, it is a problem. And the government has to very, very soon address this problem. What happened?
One minute, Professor Mondal, you were saying the government must address the problem. What do you think the External Affairs Minister was trying to do through his statement? What was he trying to read out poetry in Parliament? आपने पढ़ा है उनका statement?
Parliament is not going to solve the problem. Parliament will only discuss the issues, will decide the policies. It is the executive, it is the government.
Yeah, but that does not mean you don't listen to the minister. Opposition had been demanding a statement, Professor Mondal. Like I told Nikhil, they could have allowed the minister to speak and then claimed high moral ground. हमने तो सुन लिया, अब हमारी बात भी सुनो, but that doesn't happen. Which is why I said this is a template. Now let's go to the BJP spokesperson, Dr. Ranganathan. I'll come to you. Shehzad Poonawala, is there a problem that every time the opposition has some concerns, no debate takes place, the government blames the opposition, and then we hear excuses like these? Highway, etc., etc.
Pranesh, it is amply clear that today they don't want discussion, but they want disruption. They don't want charcha, they want kharcha. They don't want motion, they actually want commotion. They don't want conciliation and consensus, they want confrontation. Because if they were on one footing, one stand, I want to ask my good friend Mr. Gawande, while they were crying hoarse about Irani ship, which was not in our waters, did one tweet or one statement come from Sonia Gandhi about the Indians killed by Irani projectiles? Show me the actual tweet or the statement. It did not come. Secondly, Mr. Gawande says that these are the questions we want to ask, but look at the level of distrust. So, Mr. Gawande, when you bring no confidence motion against every constitutional institution, are you doing it to raise the levels of trust? Which institution has Rahul Gandhi, because there is no confidence in him, not brought a no confidence against that institution, and you all have supported him? Why didn't you all ever give him an intervention and call him out? From president to vice president, speaker, chief justice of India, chief election commissioner, every institution. In fact, when your good friend Mr. Adani's Hindenburg case was dismissed by the Supreme Court, at that time it was brought against the Supreme Court. The doubt was raised by Rahul Gandhi against the Supreme Court, even though Mr. Sharad Pawar was saying completely different thing. Then Mr. Gawande, I want to ask you, you have said just a statement was laid. Mr. Gawande, we are not fighting a war against Iran or Israel. There have been wars even in Iraq. There has been a war in Afghanistan when Soviet Union came. All the time we have laid statement. In fact, you were too young. You were probably just born. At that time, 26/11 when it happened, at that time Chidambaram only laid a statement, no discussion. 26/11 happened within the country. So one thing is very clear, that Rahul Gandhi, or I would say Lashkar-e-Rahul, I am first of all very grateful. I think that small victories are hard to come. Today they did not go topless in parliament. Ye badi victory hai, Pranesh. They did not go topless. They just went tasteless and brainless. Secondly, I want to ask that they have taken supari against every constitutional institution. The Rashtrapati is insulted by TMC. The Speaker is insulted by Congress Party. The Prime Minister is insulted by the other parties of India Alliance. They have taken it upon themselves to insult every institution. And finally, I just want to ask one last question, that look at the pattern. In 2018, 17-18, they wanted discussion on price rise. We said, let's have discussion on price rise. They go to Hindenburg or they go to Rafale. Then they say want discussion on COVID. They go to Pegasus. Then they say they want a discussion on certain issue. We say, let's have the discussion. They go to a third issue. Today, Mr. Gawande and Mr. Monojit and Nikhil Jain, scratch your heads and tell me that when you brought the motion, it was accepted by the BSE. Is it equivalent to fixing a puncture? Is it Abdul fixing a puncture? This is the same thing as the impeachment motion of the Speaker? I mean, which kind of political analysis is this, that the high office of the Speaker is being brought to be impeached and you're comparing it to the fixing of a puncture?
Okay.
This shows the level
Faizan Kidwai,
they watch Parliament.
how do you see this, sir? You know, even Akhilesh Yadav today put out a post in the afternoon. He says, you know, there are issues that have come up in the last week or so, but today let's discuss the war.
Yeah.
And then when the minister makes a statement, you saw what happened.
Good evening, Pranesh. Good evening to you and to the fellow panelists. I am sure, Pranesh, you and the learned friends sitting here, they all know that this monologue of Mr. Jaishankar was a suo moto statement, and as per the procedural rules, you cannot, these statements cannot be questioned. So when Mr. Jaishankar started making these monologues and the government was using the procedural loopholes to allow Mr. Jaishankar to deliver these monologues, so it was the duty of the opposition to hold the government accountable, because Pranesh, in a vibrant and a healthy democracy, when there is a crisis situation, transparency and accountability is important. What Mr. Jaishankar was doing, he even admitted that there's an inevitable fuel crisis that's going to happen. So it is the duty of the opposition to ask for a discussion to assess the preparedness level of the government or lack of it. And through these discussions, it's the citizens which come to know that what plans the government has made to shield them from this unavoidable avalanche of energy crisis, fertilizer shortages, which is going to put the lives off the track in coming days. All thanks to the failed foreign and domestic policies of this Modi Sarkar. But the escapist attitude of Mr. Narendra Modi, it's not new. We all have seen that. But today, when the war has reached the shores of India and is directly jeopardizing life of Indian citizens, Mr. Modi and his government not ready for a discussion, this will eventually become a black swan moment for Bharatiya Janata Party. People are watching, people are seeing what this government is doing now. Pranesh, kindly just give me some more time. Let me just tell you how exactly this inflation has already reached us and how it is destroying the lives of ordinary individuals. Apart from the surge in the fuel prices, we all know from $65 per barrel, it has gone up to
no one is saying there is no problem. That's not even the point. But if you demand a discussion, Faizan Bhai, then you must at least, at the very least, listen to the minister concerned. Now this point about suo moto is right. that this was a suo motu statement. You're absolutely right. But sun to lena chahiye. Now, some people have made this about prepared text. Nikhil Jain called it nonsense. Dr. Ranganathan, prepared text a problem hai.
Good evening, Pranesh, and good evening to my fellow panelists. At the outset, can I say that I feel terribly sad participating in the debate tonight, because this is how I want the parliament to be, like your debate show is right now. As a spectator, you have these five of my friends who are all parts of political parties. This is how the debate should be conducted. So I'm sad that this is not how things are conducted in the parliament, where we pay approximately 3 crores per day. And out here, you are conducting debate in an amazing fashion where I am, as an outsider, getting to learn so much. Now, I am a lifelong Nota voter and I always would be. But, I'm now dilly-dallying because my good friend Anish has made such great points that I would possibly tilt towards voting for him if ever he, tries to fight an election. All his questions that he has raised are absolutely legitimate and have to be answered. But there is one thing I want to ask you, Anish. Why aren't you allowing the government to answer it? Number one, you can very easily withdraw the no confidence motion and say, well, we'll take it up some other day because, yes, you allotted the time given to no confidence because you heard us. But now we have another pressing issue. Let's leave aside the no confidence motion and discussion on it, and let's talk on this. You could have done it. You didn't do it. Number two, absolutely right about these questions should be answered. But did you even hear Dr. Jaishankar? Let me explain. The point with the petrol prices and the government able to absorb them is the simple economics of it. Let's say the petrol costs 100 rupees per litre. Did you know that almost 45 rupees of it goes as tax to both the center and the states, roughly half and half? So the point is the government is in an ability to absorb the shock of the rising oil prices that have risen by 30% already. The point is not that much the case in the LPG, where of course the tax is much less, sometimes even as low as 5%. But as far as the fuel prices are concerned, going forward, please don't spread panic, because the government is in a good position to absorb that rising prices. Number two, did you even at least have the humility to thank the government now for have the perspicacity of buying Russian oil for the past 3 years that the opposition was crying, don't do it, don't do it? Do you know that instead of buying oil from Saudi and buying from Russia, the government has saved $26 billion in the last 3 years? That has cumulatively stopped the inflation from rising by 1.47%. If it was rising, you would be the same people crying hoarse on the streets, pouring on and saying, look at the inflation, we should buy things from Russia. And number two, as for my good friend Nikhil Jain saying that, oh, we have already genuflected to Trump. 3 weeks ago, Trump said we are removing 25% oil tariffs because India is no longer buying oil from Russia. And if it starts to do so, we will slap you on more tariffs. We continue to buy every day more than 1 million barrels per day from Russia. So at least, good sense should prevail, my good friend Anish. You are the most sensible of all 6 of us. Please spread this bonhomie of message of supporting the government when it needs to be supported all around.
Anish, now that you've been certified as the voice of the opposition on the panel, go ahead.
Pranesh, I want to start off by telling Shahzad that he is right. I was too young to remember all of the instances that he mentioned. But I, like more than half of this country, have grown up in my entire adult life with Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji as my Prime Minister. So the questions I will ask are to my Prime Minister as a citizen of this country, not just as a member of the opposition, right? To Dr. Ranganathan, I want to say absolutely, this is the reassurance I would have liked to hear from the Finance Minister on the floor of the House. I would have also liked to hear reassurances of our $12 billion food exports to the Gulf countries that are currently being threatened by this war and this crisis. I would have also liked to hear from the External Affairs Minister, who we've thanked time and again for his tireless service and the MEA's tireless service in bringing back Indians stranded across
Anish, you are saying I would have liked to hear, but the opposition did not hear. That's the problem. Sun hi nahi rahe the aap. The minister was speaking. Now, Nikhil wants to come in. Yeah, it's all caught on, it's on tape. I'm not making this up. When throughout Jaishankar's statement in Lok Sabha, the sloganeering did not stop throughout. Now I invite fact checkers to tell me that I am wrong. throughout. It did not. क्या बोल रहे हैं डॉक्टर साहब?
I'm saying when Dr. Jaishankar speaks, they don't allow him to speak.
Yeah, but they want to
When
hear.
they allow him to speak, they don't hear him out. So I don't know. It's a.
And when he speaks, they have a problem with the prepared text. Just because, their leader is not prepared, never prepared, does not mean the others can't, come prepared. Nikhil, what is your problem? Coming to you, Shahzad, let's take a question.
Pranesh, our very good friend Dr. Ranganathan very often speaks sense, which is why you allow him to speak. Nobody allows Dr. Jaishankar, Mr. Laser Eyes, to speak because he just reads from written statements. And let me just correct the BJP spokesperson.
What is the problem with No, Nikhil, 1 minute. One minute. You asked that question of Shahzad, 1 minute. What is the problem with written statement? You've said it, 3 or 4 times now. Kya problem kya written statement mein?
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. The Rajya Sabha, there is no confidence motion lying in the Rajya Sabha. The leader of opposition in the Rajya Sabha, Mallikarjun Kharge, submitted a Rule 267 notice for an urgent discussion to happen on this very pressing issue that is going to concern all the people in the country, whether farmers, consumers, businessmen, industrialists.
I get
everybody
that,
is going
Nikhil,
to
but I'm asking you, what is the problem with a written statement?
by the foreign minister, which is a written statement. Pranesh, you can't have a discussion on it. It doesn't answer the questions of the opposition. But the more important point, simple for the BJP.
That point was made by Anish that this was a suo moto statement, but that does not mean you don't listen to the minister. That's the first step. Let the minister make a statement. Now, okay, you wanted to ask something of the BJP. Go ahead. Go ahead, Nikhil, you were saying something.
One simple question. Yes, one simple. Thank you so much. Will the BJP national spokesperson Shehzad Poonawala assure on your show that the government will have a proper discussion on this conflict, the role of India in this conflict, the side of India in this conflict? Yes or no? Simple answer.
Shehzad?
Now, Pranesh, I hope that I will not be interrupted during my full answer, and I will answer as per my sequence. First of all, why a written statement has to be given? Because when you speak in Parliament, the statement made by the Honourable Minister on a pressing situation gets laid on the table of the House for eternity. So he has to read out from the written statement. He's not reading out from Rahul Gandhi's fantasy land and fantasy imaginations. Rahul Gandhi is an irresponsible person who can speak anything in Parliament. The minister is not an irresponsible person. So he will speak from a written statement which he will table in the House, which will be point by point, word by word, exactly the same. Point number one. Point number two, I will answer Anish and then I will come back to Nikhil. Mr. Anish, you are probably too young and therefore you don't know that before the advent of Modi's era, we are having 17 taxes which used to add cascading tax effect. Today we have GST and GST 2.0 which has reduced the taxes and tax burden. Before you were born, the taxes were charged on 2 lakh rupee income slab. Today it is 12 lakh rupees. Before you were born, we were paying 300 rupees per GB. Today we pay 10 rupees per GB. And therefore this dip in the large number of things that we are purchasing today is also the reason why which inflation is low. And by the way, LPG, before you were into politics, costed 1241 in a 14 kg cylinder in 2014. Today it costs, even after the 60 rupee hike, 913 rupees for 14 kilos. Therefore, it has actually come down compared to your government before you were part of politics. Also, as far as petrol is concerned, before you got into active politics in 2004, petrol costed 35 rupees. By the time you left the government in 2014, it costed 78 rupees per litre, which means the increase was 110-115%. Today it has gone from 78 rupees to 95, 96, 97 rupees. And if you still want, you can reduce the VAT in your opposition rule states and give the relief to the people. But you won't do that.
No,
now
that's
coming
okay.
to the
Shehzad, if you cite any more stat, वो पूछेंगे रुपये और डॉलर का भी बता दो. When Anish was young, वो रुपये कितना था, अभी रुपये कितना है, वो भी बता देंगे.
I will. वो भी बताता हूँ. Now I'll come to that. After this, you give me the extra time, I will answer that also. But let me come to the point that is being made by Mr. Nikhil Jain. Nikhil Jain in TV show wants me to give a commitment that even after the Congress party is doing absolute hooliganism, we should give commitment that there will be discussion, but the discussion they wanted on the speaker's role, which we accepted, which BSc gave time for, they don't want to fulfill that commitment. So first Nikhil Jain gives me the commitment that the BSc demand that they wanted, that there should be no confidence on speaker, you will allow it tomorrow without any ruckus. First you should fulfill the commitment.
Nikhil, answer that question.
So first fulfill that.
Shehzad, unlike you, I don't hold the high office of being the national spokesperson of the ruling party, so I'm in no position to give any commitments. Number one.
For that,
Number two,
you don't know. I'll tell you, it's you know, that's not even a problem. For that, your party will have to be the ruling party. Only then can you become the spokesperson.
Really is the point. Pranesh, that's not the point. The point is that the BJP spokesperson is lying on your show yet again when he says that the LPG cylinder was 1241. The consumers got it for rupees 400 because the government subsidized it. That was a time when crude oil prices were $140 a barrel. Right now, they are $116 a barrel. And before Modi ji's best friend Donald Trump started this war, it was $70 a barrel just 2 weeks ago. All right. So let's not compare apples to oranges here. So far as he wants to increase,
answer the last part. You know, this whataboutery will, kill the debate. Answer the last part of what Shehzad Poonawalla is asking. If the opposition wanted a debate on the no confidence motion, the BSc accepted it. Why are you shying away from it now?
Pranesh, the Rajya Sabha was never supposed to discuss the no confidence motion. Why was it not discussed in the Rajya Sabha? Okay, Lok Sabha, let's say the opposition is not allowing a discussion on the no confidence motion because that is far less important than this pressing issue that
far less important.
Is facing. But what about the Rajya Sabha? There is no confidence motion in the Rajya Sabha. Why has the government run away from accepting the 267 notice of the LOP in Rajya Sabha? Have him answer that. He won't have an answer.
No, 1 minute. Do you know the statement made by the External Affairs Minister in Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha are the same? Right? Obviously.
Yes.
Now you will have a problem with that कि prepared text था और same था. Rajya Sabha में भी same था. Lok Sabha में भी same था. Nothing changed.
My friend, Rajya Sabha में discussion क्यों नहीं हो रहा है? The point is simple. When there is no confidence motion in the Rajya Sabha, why are we not discussing this issue in the Rajya Sabha? Why?
Pranesh, can I speak?
Yeah, go ahead, Shehzad, go ahead.
Pranesh, first of all, look at the chalaki of this person. He is quoting the price of subsidized cylinder, which continues to be the same, which has not been hiked, with a non-subsidized cylinder. So that itself shows how ethical, how much integrity and how much common sense he has when he is comparing that the price of non-subsidized should be compared to the price of subsidized cylinder. Please tell him subsidized cylinder continues to be subsidized and sold at the rate of 500 or 550 rupees. It has not been increased. The price that has increased for non-subsidized cylinder. Point number one. Point number two, as far as Rajya Sabha is concerned, sir, Rajya Sabha or Lok Sabha, the format on any pressing ongoing world situation during UPA time, during NDA time, precedent set by you, parliamentary rules set by you, is that there is no discussion. There is a statement that is made. You made a statement on 26/11, which happened within the country. So please tell me that how come making statement then was fine, but today when we make a statement, it is not fine.
What is this paper that you are holding, Nikhil? What is this paper? I can't read. Please don't do this on my show. What is this paper? How do you think I'm going to read what's written on that paper?
Pranesh, this is a printout from the BJP's own website, salient points of Shri Advani ji's speech made during the debate on Mumbai attack in the parliament.
नहीं, ये माना नहीं जाएगा. You are reading from a prepared text now. ये भी तो prepared text है ना? ये माना नहीं जाएगा.
अरे बाबा ये evidence है. दोस्त ये evidence है.
Yeah, so you are saying that Shehzad Poonawalla.
Same thing.
Okay, Shehzad, he is saying that the government had a discussion on 26/11, but I think that was, after a few days. Initially, it was just the statement.
Exactly. When there is an ongoing situation, you cannot possibly have a discussion. There are so many factors and variables that are involved. There are issues of national security. There are issues of international commitments that are involved. Therefore, a government is entitled to keep its statement so that the entire country, the opposition, all members of parliament are apprised of what the government and the Indian position is. But having said that, later on they can press for it. They can go to BSE, structure a debate. But I'm saying the last debate they wanted was on the no confidence. Why haven't they stuck to that? Either they are saying that we will withdraw it, or either they say that we were wrong in bringing it. Which of the two is it?
I'll tell you why. Because they have no confidence in the numbers. They know wo chalega hi nahi. They don't have the numbers. So they've realized that. Dr. Ranganathan?
No, this tu mama is not helping because I was so effusive in my praise for all 5 of my very dear friends. So let me just get back to the debate. And it's a straight question to Nikhil. Shahzad is right, Nikhil. Can you please tell me the price of the subsidized LPG gas cylinder in 2014 and the price of the subsidized gas cylinder in 2026?
Pranesh, can I please answer that?
Of course, that's for you to answer.
Dr. Ranganathan, the difference is that in 2014, every consumer got a subsidized cylinder. Every domestic consumer got a subsidized cylinder. Now it's not the case. Not even a third of the total.
What was the price, Nikhil? What was the price?
And this is what Shahzad is trying to do on the
What
debate.
was the price?
Deflect
Just
from the important topic.
Expose
the price was 400.
Listen,
back then
if you
when
have
the food was
1 minute. If you think you have the facts, you can read read a prepared text also. Just tell the price. What was the price? It's a simple question.
400 rupees. 400. I am answering. 400 rupees when crude oil was $140 a barrel. Right now it is 550 rupees when crude oil was $70 a barrel. Crude oil price has halved, but the subsidized cylinder price has gone up by a third. And that too, the subsidy is not even being given to a third of the consumers. During the UPA government, the subsidy was given to all of the consumers. But again, I will draw it back to what matters. What is the government's stand on this debate? Why has the government not condemned the
crude oil ka jawab, Shahzad?
Ask Nikhil ji that how many poor people were availing of LPG cylinder before 2014. The LPG coverage was less than 30%. Today it is 100%, with 10 crore cylinders being given free to Ujjwala users. What is this man saying?
Okay, this back and forth is not helping anyone. Faizan Kidwai and Professor Mondal in that order. Yes, Faizan bhai.
Okay, first of all, let me start with what Anand bhai said. He said all of us should praise Narendra Modi. I don't know why, Anand bhai, you keep doing this, because I also come with my facts. See, you should know, Anand bhai, I think you need Indians to thank Mr. Narendra Modi, especially the farmers, because 75% of India's urea, which was imported from GCC countries, that's completely shut down because of the Strait of Hormuz has been shut down for us. Imported sulfur is now costing $550 per ton, which was earlier $250. Domestic production has been paralyzed, Anand bhai, you should know. Majority of the urea plants as of now are functioning at 60% capacity because of inadequate gas availability. This blows the lid off Atmanirbhar Bharat. Kharif season is just 3 months away. Farmers are going to face tremendous fertilizer shortage and hiked prices. You know what Narendra Modi is saying now? He's saying we'll start importing LNG and ammonia from US, Australia and certain other countries. Ab tak so rahe the kya? He says that
Dr. Ranganathan, quick response. I'm coming to you, Professor Mondal.
नहीं देखिए, ये फैजान भाई को हर जगह मोदी जी नजर आ रहे हैं. अपने में भी आई वाज प्रेजिंग हिम. आप बाकी पांचों से पूछ ले. आई वाज प्रेजिंग फैजान भाई. आई वांटेड हिम टू गो एंड रिप्रेजेंट अस इन लोकसभा. इनको उसमें भी मोदी नजर आ रहे हैं. अरे भाई, फैक्ट ऑफ द मैटर इज कि द गवर्नमेंट इज ऑन टॉप ऑफ द सिचुएशन एज फार एज द फ्यूल इज कंसर्न्ड. आई हैव गिवन यू द डेटा एंड व्हेन आई सेड यू मस्ट थैंक मोदी, आई सेड थैंक मोदी फॉर हिज perspicacity in continuing to buying Russian oil despite US sanctions. Why would you not thank him? I would thank him.
Professor Mondal.
If Akhilesh who did it, I would thank Akhilesh as well.
No, I know Shahzad bhai talked about insulting the president, which was a complete lie. Look at what your prime minister is doing in Advani's place. I don't want to get into this politics now because we are discussing something else. But for God's sake, please do not use the office of the president for your narrow political gain. She came for a private visit. MOS rank officer received her. Please.
But
don't talk about that, otherwise I'll bring the SIR.
No, that's an important but a separate issue. Here we are talking about the parliament disruption, because at the rate at which things are going, the House will be adjourned tomorrow. The session will come to an end. Shehzad, you have the last word, then we move on.
Probably Mr. Monojit Mandal does not know that when the president is bestowing either Padma or Bharat Ratna, all the others are supposed to be seated and only she is on her feet. This is the protocol. But the protocol is that your chief minister or minister had to receive her, which you didn't because she's from Adivasi Samaj, and the entire Adivasi Samaj will watch this Upman. Ambedkar's followers who have, Ambedkar ji has drafted the constitution, they will also follow this. They will also.
Let's just hope that the opposition and the government find some common ground and, discussion takes place. At least the House is allowed to run. I thank some of you for joining us on debate number 1. Viewers,